Hi and welcome back to Broadsheet Melbourne Around Town. If this is your first time here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you never miss a video. I'm Broadsheet's editorial director, Katja Vachtel, and the host of this 10-minute guide to Melbourne. Welcome back to Around Town, Quincy.
Thank you.
So the Saint is one of those iconic venues in Melbourne that if you lived or you worked or you partied in the southeast or the south side in the last 15 years, you've probably spent a night at the Saint, maybe many early mornings potentially as well. So this is a place that Melbourne knows well. What's been happening to the Saint over the last few years?
It's been a lot of different things. Obviously, kind of crossing the spectrum from restaurant to nightclub. But the last few years, it's just been sitting empty.
What have they done? Because my memories, of course, I spent a bit of time, I have to admit, at the Saint, over a decade ago, and then there was a huge refurbishment that changed the mood and style of the venue quite drastically. And I'm not sure it ever kind of got back to what it had been beforehand. What is the new approach now?
So I think they were really trying to go against that, just, make it an upscale pub kind of approach to do a real multi-purpose venue. So it's essentially 5 different venues in one, upstairs and downstairs, with something sort of for every sort of diner and drinker.
Can you take us in through the front doors and describe these different distinct spaces?
Yeah. So when you walk in, the main thing is sort of a gastropub, really large, high ceilings, just like your standard, big dining room. And then you turn left and there's a wine bar and wine cellar. They've got walls of bottles. And that's going to be more of a small plate, just standard wine bar, stand at the counter kind of vibe. And then when you turn the corner, behind the gastropub is the main restaurant. And that is essentially built around the Jasper Grill and all kind of flame focused.
Is it much more formal, that dining room, than the gastropub, or does it feel more or less like a continuation?
It does feel like it's a distinct space. I would say it's more intimate. There's booths, probably more of a date night or small group setting.
Okay. And what's on the menu?
So it's pretty protein heavy. There's a lot of skewers, steaks, but there are quite a few vegetable dishes as well. And they're all kind of given that same treatment of charcoal, flame-licked, smoke.
Now, there are some other parts of the new Saint that were not open when you visited and wrote the story. Can you tell us about those two?
Yeah, so those are both upstairs. One is a bar, and it kind of takes up most of the upstairs area. It's super light filled and it's going to be more of just a casual cocktail kind of drinking destination. And then there's also a listening bar, which I would say is kind of the most anticipated part of the venue.
The listening bar, you wrote that they're using the same speaker system, the same handmade speaker system that Waxflower uses, which is one of Melbourne's top and probably most influential listening bars, alongside the music room at Her.
Yeah, so inspired by Waxflower in Brunswick, they have commissioned the same company that's based in Tasmania to make these handmade wooden speakers. And I have seen the speakers. They're massive.
So there's a few different things I think people need to get their heads around. They'll walk in and you can kind of have your own adventure. That's the plan. Yeah,
it's definitely something I think you need experience to fully grasp all the different concepts in there.
Thanks for coming in, Quincy.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Around Town, Holly.
Thank you. Very happy to be here.
So you're here to tell us about the very first store for Hommey, which is an Australian homewares brand. It's been around for a few years, but until now, you've only been able to buy it online.
So Justin Kesselman, the founder of Hommey, around lockdown period, the first year of lockdown in Melbourne, he was really yearning for some comfy things for his home and he was looking for cushions. And lots of us were buying impulsively online and then getting things delivered and being oh, this color doesn't work. Justin Kesselman couldn't find cushions that were high quality, that looked really good and that were comfy. So he leveled up and just designed some, prototyped his own, and basically ended up with this signature range of cushions that Hommey is now known for. They became really popular. He then branched out and started designing robes and reversible throws and
Towels.
and eventually pet beds.
How long did he had he always planned to open a bricks and mortar store, or was this kind of something that was a more recent development?
I believe it was always a seed in his mind, and then eventually it just became the natural next move. The whole range is really defined by these really beautiful textures. So a lot of their pieces, like their cushions, are made with velvet and linen and corduroy and fake fur. So it was just like really his plan to create this very tactile space where you could actually come and enjoy the very beautiful fabrics and the bold colours. So it was really like a natural next move for them.
So the store's opened on Toorak Road in South Yarra. It's just below Chapel Street. So tell us about the store.
The space is beautiful. The team actually designed it themselves and then got contractors to build it. They made it to be quite pared back because they wanted to let the colours and the textures really shine. So it's just got like really clean, sleek travertine floors, white walls, and this really beautiful curved off-white joinery. And then as soon as you walk in, it's kind of like your dream living room. There's just this beautiful boucle white sofa that you can lounge in. And then they've got a shelf with all of like these coffee table books and beautiful cushions, their signature cushioning range. It's funny because I feel like normally the partner couch is like shoved to the back of the room by the change rooms, but they've put it at the front of the store so you can lounge there for a bit. You can then head upstairs. There is another platform that's got this huge cushion wall. You can see this shelf with all of the big cushions, like they've got these huge floor cushions, which are really comfy, and then down to these more circular, like almost tiny cushions that you can just cuddle, which are really beautiful. And then right next to that, they've got this really beautiful rack where they've just got all of the cushion covers. So you can sort of like streak your hand along them and feel all of the different textures and see all the different colors. They've also just got a little wall where you can see all the slides and the dressing gowns as well. So they've got like the full range of 600 items is in the store. Most of them you can buy and take home for that day, except for the pet beds, and the pet range generally, which they'll help you order online and have delivered to you.
The pet beds. Let's talk about the pet beds. This is a newer range for them. And you were told about the process that was involved in making sure that they were up to scratch.
Yeah, pretty comprehensive sampling and trialing process. Justin, the founder, was telling me that they were doing it over a year and they brought in about 30 different pet owners to have their animals test the pet beds. So the beds that made it to the final range have been tried and tested, and we know that they're good. And if you're lucky enough to have a dog that doesn't destroy everything that you give it, then maybe you can go and get a beautiful pet bed from Hommey.
So what is next? I imagine it's such a popular brand. So I imagine that this is probably just the first of many stores for them.
Yeah, Justin's really keen to keep opening bricks and mortar stores around the country and eventually around the world. And they're also going to be running talks and workshops within the actual space. So they'll be inviting interior designers to come in and do talk-through processes of like ways to design your space, choosing the right textures for your space, choosing the right colors for your space. And that's not just around Hommey products, but like about actually just being more mindful about how you design your space and how you achieve comfort there.
Well, thanks so much for joining us, Holly. Hommey is open Monday to Saturday, 10 a.m. till 5 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m. That's all we've got time for today. As always, you can stay up to date at broadsheet.com.au or on Instagram at broadsheet_melb. See you again next week.